everyone, Reaper here again with another video. This time I wanted to focus on independent books. Now, I don't have every major independent book. I know there are some people in the community, and not even in the community, that focus on collecting independents or books that are outside the big three when it comes to the publishers like DC, Marvel, and Image. So I figure I would make I'm probably going to make a two-parter, maybe even a three-parter. I have to just go through my collection more. But anyway, I have some books, some independent books to show off here in this video. Some books that you might want to look into, or maybe some books you already have. The prices on these range. Some of them are very expensive, and some of them may not be so expensive. So we'll start off with The Crow. Crow number 1, James O'Barr. I got this. I met James O'Barr at the East Coast Comic Con a few years ago when he signed this, and I later had it. I had someone witness it, and then I had it slabbed, as you can see here. Beautiful book. I love the artwork on this cover and so forth. I prefer the artwork on Caliber Presents number 1, the back of the cover, over this. I do, but still, I like James O'Barr, and I love the Crow storyline, or at least the original, this series Crow storyline. So Crow number 1, we have Crow number 2, we have Crow number 3. And I know it's blocking, but I'm just trying to fit it all on the camera for you. And Crow number 4. The original Crow movie with Brandon Lee was based off of this mini-series that came out in 1989. And it's almost like a lot of what James O'Barr did with this series was based on some of the things that he was going through in his life. I believe his fiance was killed in a car accident, and left him with a lot of anger, a lot of grief, and he's did many things over the years to deal with that. But one of the things that I think he was quoted for saying is when he was drawing The Crow, a lot of that anger and a lot of that rage that he had at losing his fiance came out. Because, as you know, the story of The Crow, Eric Draven, he and his fiance are killed, and he comes back as a vengeful spirit as the Crow. And, he's aided by this mystical crow that gives him power to not only come back to life, but seek revenge on the people that killed him and his fiance. So very cool series. I heard that some of them, they're hard, they're limited, a limited run. I don't know how limited these things are, but they're very cool to have, and they are independent titles by Caliber Press. Okay, so here we have a couple more. One of my favorites. We'll start off with this one. Let me straighten this up a bit for you. Comico Primer, but by Comico, they put out the Primer series. So here we have number 1, number 2, which is the first appearance of Grendel. I have a nice high-grade copy. I bought it at the 2014 New York Comic Con. I was thinking about actually getting this, just a quick press and grade it one day, but that's in the future. Comico Primer number 3, number 4, number 5, which is the first appearance of Max the Hare, and number 6, the first appearance of Evangeline. Independent titles, very cool to have in the collection. I like them a lot. I've always liked, let's focus in on Grendel, right? Without knocking all these things down, of course. I've always liked number 2 because it is the introduction to Grendel. I've always liked Grendel. I remember when he was teaming up with Batman and so forth and so on. It was always a Hunter Rose. That's the character's name. And definitely a cool book to have if you're looking to collect independent titles. So let's get these out of the way. And last few for this. Creepy. Creepy number 1. This is a recent purchase. I got this a few months back. And I think it's a really cool magazine. It has, for those who are horror fans, it's a Jack Davis cover. For those that know Jack Davis, I know who Jack Davis is, obviously, because he was the artist, one of the main artists later in the series for one of the series that I like the most, Tales from the Crypt. So here we have again Creepy, which is the first appearance of Uncle Creepy, which he's right there in the middle. So definitely a book that if you're a horror fan, you like independence, something to pick up. Last two. We'll start off with this one. Raphael, #1. This is the first appearance of Casey Jones, an ally to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So it's another cool independent title, very independent. I never liked, though, I must say, I never liked the size of these. The awkward non-comic book size. It's not even magazine size. It's just so awkward, but it has that very independent feel to it, right? So that's part of the charm, I guess, to a lot of collectors, but definitely a cool one to have. And of course this one. Now this is not a first print or even a second print. This is my third printing of the book. I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and for me not to have a printing of issue 1 is just not acceptable. So here's the third printing of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1, and of course there's probably no greater independent title out there than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1. Probably not. I mean, there are a lot of other good ones out there, but I think that this is the king of independence. So whether you have a first print, a second print, or a third print, they're all pretty good to have. I mean, obviously the first print's the best because it's a limited amount of copies. What is it, 5,000 some odd copies? I don't know. Very expensive though, but definitely I would say the king of independence. Well, thank you all for watching. I'll probably come out with a part 2 of this video sometime soon, so stay tuned and take care.